All right, so I wanted to talk just today for a second about what Bill Conley over at ESPN wrote about Georgia and these last two teams, as well as the best team in the college football playoff era by his math, which was Alabama in 2020. This is a very important paragraph. He says the most relevant point for today is that this Georgia team, talking about 2022, was either the best or co-best of the recent champs. He's saying that the 2022 Georgia team was as good as the 2020 Alabama team. He goes on to say, and Kirby Smart has now produced a team as good as anything Nick Saban has produced at Alabama. Saban's title still counts. Saban's title count still makes him the greatest of the era and of all time. But it's scary what Georgia might be able to accomplish in the coming seasons if Kirby can maintain this sort of ceiling. Now, let's just remember this real quick. And I was thinking about this when I was checking the mail today. Georgia won the national championship game 65-7. 35-7 would have been a blowout. 25-7 would have been decisive. They won the game 65-7. In the last three games of the season, and I just wrote about this over on Dog Post. If you're not a member at Dog Post, think about becoming a member. But if not, we've got our newsletter down below. Make sure you're signing up for that. It's for free. Todd Monken's Georgia's offense over the last three games, the most important three games of the season, averaged 52.3 points a game. 52.3 a game. Now, we can talk about, giving up, what was it, 41 plus 30 plus 7. So, yeah, 26 a game. But when you're scoring 52, it doesn't matter that the other team's almost scoring 4 touchdowns. Those are anomalies. Georgia scoring 52, that's not as much of an anomaly, right? So that Georgia was that decisive. You want to avoid recency bias in our game, but if it's one of the best things ever, it's not recency bias. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the teams in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And there were some really good teams in there. Georgia would probably beat Nebraska's the mid 90s to late 90s teams. They'd probably beat them solidly because those guys couldn't run around with these guys. The LSU team in 19, the Alabama team in 20, the 22 and 21 Georgia teams. These teams would have gotten competition from from the turn of the century Miami teams. But the Florida team in 96, Tennessee in 98, they weren't touching these teams right now. Football is better. It's at a better moment. It's a better place. I don't know where Georgia 22 stacks up against the other Alabama teams, but my suspicion is they're not losing to a lot of them. They're not. I mean, that 12 Alabama team was really good. They weren't as good as these guys this past year. That's all there is to it. But I mean, I think the point that I'm trying not to look backwards, but looking forward. What Bill is saying is the thing that college football should be cognizant of. It is scary what Georgia might be able to accomplish in the coming season if Kirby can maintain this sort of ceiling. We'll see, right? Pick up double dogs today. I almost said dog struction. Pick it up now, y'all. We're getting a lot of orders in. I don't know when I'm going to run out of confetti. I'm giving it to as many people as I can. If you order now, I think you're going to be okay in the confetti. If you wait until February, you're not going to be. So, I mean, I'm just going to tell you it like it is. And in addition, it takes time for the books to come in, so you won't get it immediately. So if you're wanting guys to sign it and so forth, order it today. Get as many copies as you need today in this first running of it. But the cover's not going to change. It's Double Dogs, Georgia's national championship. How Kirby Smart's dogs reach perfection in 2022 by Dean Legge, forward by Jeff Foxworthy. We're also going to have the guys from Dog Post. They're going to have some stuff in here too, not just their images. It's going to be a really cool book. Check it out today. Buy it today. I'm saying buy it today because I just know how this goes. I've been through this once now and seen the ebb and flow. If you want the confetti, you need to get on it now, just straight up. But can this ceiling continue? And of course, as I look this way, this is where the board is. This is where all of the scholarship information is for me. And as it stands coming into the 22 season, my rough math was that Georgia had 88 scholarship guys. They just won this national championship with 10 seniors. So they do lose some guys. The 28 upperclassmen, a lot of those guys are leaving. Guys like Dominique Blaylock, Stetson Bennett, Kenny McIntosh, Kyrus Jackson, Darnell Washington, guys you've gotten used to getting to know. Obviously, Jalen Carter, but a lot of this team returns. A lot of this team returns. We've not heard anything about Ladd McConkey leaving. So Ladd, Brock Bowers, Mims, Chambliss, Dumas Johnson, Munden. I mean, three of your linebackers are going to be back. Bullard, who played about as well as any defender in the last three games this season. Bullard is back. Lassiter is back. You're probably going to have the return of, um, you are going to have the return of Mikael Williams. Well, what's going to happen there? Obviously, you're going to have the return of Starks. You're going to return three of the five, excuse me, guys who played in the secondary. I mean, this is going to be a good team in 2023. The defense may be stronger than the offense, but we'll see. Like if Todd Monken comes back, which right now I don't know why he wouldn't, unless he went to go to the NFL. It's going to be this Georgia, this Georgia team in terms of setting up for a ceiling, it's pretty high. Now, again, I'm not an idiot, right? Not most of the time, only occasionally. And it depends if you ask my in-laws. But there's still going to be real challenge from Alabama. There's still going to be real challenge from Ohio State. I think the criticism right now of Ohio State, justified or unjustified, is that Ryan Day has not won a national championship yet. I mean, for me, it's a fact. I don't think that that's going to continue, frankly. I mean, I think there will be a point where Ohio State's just recruited too well, and they will get their time. They will have a season or two where they win a national championship. If I were to bet if Nick is going to win another one in the next half decade, my suspicion is yes. I'm not sure of that. If I were to bet about Georgia in the next half decade, my suspicion would be yes, they will, perhaps two in the next half decade. But we'll see. You're not a dynasty until you got three, and that's just all there is to it, y'all. I mean, you can't say it any other way. These are my definitions of things. Just like Georgia has three rivals, not eight. It's Tech, Auburn, and the Gators. It's not everybody else. So you can't be we can't be a rival with everyone, and you can't be a dynasty if you've only won it twice. That would suggest that 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 Florida State had a dynasty in the 90s. They won two national championships. I mean, that's it. Is that a dynasty? Clemson won two national championships. Florida had two national championships. Are those dynasties? I don't think so. I don't think so. And my definition of dynasty comes from the NBA definition of it, because the Bulls, total dynasty. Were the Braves a dynasty? They were not. Were the Yankees? Yes, they were. But you had the Bulls. You had, to some degree, certainly the Spurs, the Lakers, and then the Wizards, right? I mean, these were dynasties. They dominated for more than a couple of years. We're talking about a couple of years. But what Bill is saying is, if Kirby can keep this up, then it's, quote, scary what Georgia might be able to accomplish. Well, the things that are going to get in Georgia's way are as follows: Ohio State, Alabama, I would argue LSU, but we'll see. Let's see what happens at Clemson. I mean, I think that Dabo took a major step in the right direction by having some change. and he's going to need a quarterback that's functional. He's not had that lately. I don't know if he's got that right now. Texas A&M has some real issues. Florida, no right now. But it's going to be, it's going to be Michigan. It's going to be Ohio State. It's going to be Georgia. It's going to be Alabama. Could SC come in? Really, the most recent dynasty that was not Alabama was USC. Um, could the Trojans come to play ball? These are all good questions, but there's no one better positioned right now than Georgia. What could change is the expansion of the playoff and the expansion of the SEC. That could change things because right now, Georgia only has to win 2 games to win the national championship. Will it matter if they have to win 3? Yeah, it could, particularly if you're playing in a rough and tumble SEC with 9 conference games. We'll just see though.